Hey, coming up on your favorite podcast, it's the PGA Preview Pod. The team event in New Orleans is finished. We're moving forward. Time to go to the Valspar Championship at Innisbrook. It's a good course. I really like the golf course. Should be a fun one for me and Ty. Also, we'll talk a little bit about my golf game. It's what we do around here. It's a golf pod, so we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about the LPGA Tour a little bit because I really loved what they did the last 2 weeks doing the Wednesday to Saturday thing, and I'm going to make Ty the commissioner for the day. Ty's great because he's a casual LPGA fan. Gives him an opportunity to attract viewers to that sport, which, by the way, if you're not watching LPGA Tour golf, please try to make some time because I think they're great. I enjoy the product a ton, and I will continue to endorse it. Also, I'll chat a little bit about why we didn't have a pod last week, briefly touch on that. I want you to know that's totally my fault, and I thank you, listeners, for understanding in advance. And we will also talk about the big mega blowout live stream happening Thursday for the NFL Draft. Myself, Ryan, Zach will be live streaming on Twitch. I'll have tons of details about that when the podcast opens. So, it's the Golf Pod. It's me. It's Ty. It's brought to you by TyShrupp.com, and it's coming up next. Hey, it's the Tim Anderson Podcast, the PGA Preview Pod. I'm Tim. That's my buddy Ty on the other side of this computer monitor. Tyus, how are you?
I'm doing very well. I have not played any golf, but I've watched a lot of it. So yeah, we're locked and loaded, ready to go.
We got to put a stop to that. Like, we need to play golf this weekend. Like, this nonsense that you have not played much we just got to put a stop to it. That's not acceptable.
I know. And this weekend I've been invited by everyone and their mother to golf this weekend, but I am out of town for a wedding.
What? Wedding? No. Nobody approved of this. How come
I'm the best man?
Oh, you're the best man? How many more of these friends do you have? Like, I swear you're in a million weddings.
I am in a lot of them. This is my first time being best man. So.
Ah, Jesus. Can you best man? Too many damn weddings. Let me just tell you that. You're still a young buck though. You're still like what, late 20s, early 30s?
I am early 30s, yeah.
Early 30s. So you're at the tail end of this run. But, man, that late 20s, early 30s run where you feel like you're at a goddamn wedding every weekend. You're always at a wedding. It's insane, especially with COVID now. It's backed everything up a year, and you're just going to be bombarded with this stuff.
Yeah, I have extra weddings this year for sure because I was supposed to have gone to a few last year, and yeah, there's no shortage of them this year.
Well, you're going to need to make some time for your golf game. Let's get this straightened out. Or do we got to work out Sunday? Is this an all-weekend thing?
Pretty much, yeah. It's out of town.
God damn it. You're killing me, man. You are killing me. All right, we'll deal with it. You were out parenting tonight in the cold weather up here in Minneapolis. You were watching some baseball.
I was, yeah. My son's second baseball practice of the season. And we're lucky he's on a good team with a good coach. And I was just telling you that I am interested to see what this first game looks like in a week or so because, the rules aren't quite locked in yet with the kids. So Bradley doesn't know what a foul ball is, so that'll be interesting.
Does he know how to hit the ball?
Yeah, he can smoke the ball. Yeah, he's a good hitter. He really can't catch a ball. He can field a grounder. He can throw. But the catching, unless you're 5-6 feet away from him, he's not going to really catch anything. So.
How much catch do you go out and play? Like, because you're not a baseball guy.
I mean, I played baseball until I was in 10th grade, so I played a little bit of baseball, but I would have liked to play a lot of catch, but he more would like to play dinosaurs, so I haven't played a ton of catch.
Well, this is not going to get him any... See, you two are both... You're out of whack right now. Like, I'm trying to make you a better golfer. You're going to weddings. You're trying to make him a better baseball player. He's playing dinosaurs. I mean, what are we doing here? We got to get our house in order here, Mr. Schrupp. This is not the path to success.
I know.
Yeah, he's well-rounded. That's
agree.
Okay. That's fine. He's doing well.
Yeah.
I like it. He'll be a paleontologist. Maybe you should have him watch Jurassic Park. Is he ready for Jurassic Park? Too scary.
He loves Jurassic Park. He loves it. His favorite movie right now is Godzilla vs. Kong. He's watched it 10 times. He loves it.
He's 6. Is that really a movie for him? He likes that?
He's 5.
5.
We didn't have a choice. He figured it out on Alexa that it was a movie and that it was coming out. So we didn't have a choice. He had watched the trailer 500 times, maybe more.
So the kid has Alexa power. He understands how to work the Alexa. That's trouble.
Oh, yeah. He doesn't even care to watch TV. He'll just sit and watch Alexa.
Well, depending on, that's not bad. He might be attracted to somebody named Alexa. That could be okay for his high school days. Like, first girl named Alexa that he meets, he's like, this is it. You've been the one I've been waiting for.
Mm-hmm.
Quick, turn on a movie for me. And then, she does it, and then it'd be like, man, he's got, a real thing. It's so good. Oh, Ty. I missed you, bud. Full disclosure, we did not do the podcast last week. Number one, Ty was out of town. You were traveling. You were out in Texas or whatever it was, right? I think you were driving the countryside here in the United States, right?
Yep.
Very nice. And the podcast came at a weird date. I was getting my second COVID shot that week. We had parent-teacher conferences in the A job. We had a few different things kind of happening in the same week. Plus, the Chauvin verdict came out same day that we normally do the podcast, which I was like, how many people are really going to listen to my golf podcast on this evening of all things? And just felt like there was a lot of distractions. And I was like, maybe this is the week to take a week off. So, and it was the Zurich Classic. It was the team event where I thought to myself, is anybody interested in the team event, especially if I talk about the team event by myself? So I didn't know what to do. So full disclosure to the fans of the Golf Pod, we didn't get a pod up because it just felt like the world was working against us. I really felt like that. I felt like our worlds just weren't converging in the right place at the right time, and so we took the week off. But that's why we're back this week, and I wanted to give you that explanation at the top of the pod that Ty and I love doing the pod. We like being here every week so we can gab with you about golf. But last week it was just an unworkable situation, I thought, for both him and I.
So I'll interject for you, Tim. Last week, the only reason I was wanting to podcast is we did have an appointment with the doctor, and we got are you ready for a gender reveal?
Okay, I'm in. This is big news here on the podcast. Here we go.
Yeah, not everybody knows this. This is not on social media, so...
Well, and you're not a big social media guy, so this works out well.
Yeah. So, those who don't know me, I have a almost 6-year-old boy, a 3-year-old girl. So we didn't really care what it was. I was thinking boy would be nice because our girl is a little terror, and I was hoping that, it would be a boy so we could maybe avoid that. And then also if it was a girl, that was okay too, because then the girls would be close in age and they could be, friends. Turns out that we are having a little girl. So,
look at that. T's and P's to Ty. I'll tell you what, that's going to be a tough one. Now, okay. You've gone very traditional in the names for the first two. Right? I mean, you got the young lad who's got a really solid, just good old standard American boy's name. And your gal, too, the little kid. The little girl has a nice name, too. Very, very nice name. Beautiful. I think you got to go out of the box for the third. I think you got to go you got to take a boy's name, twist it, make it a girl's name. Like Charlie with an I.
So Charlie was at the top of my list. So
we're your simpatico here. Let's make this happen.
Well, so the name is decided. So the first two kids was 100% my wife. I had absolutely no say. Bradley and Lily, she picked that out 20 years ago.
Beautiful names, by the way.
Maybe 30.
And Kayla's smart. Bradley, she gets to call. Yeah, she gets to make these calls. It's fine.
I had no choice. But she was nice enough to give me full reign on the third name.
Wow.
So I put her through it. I mean, there were some names that I was throwing out there that I knew she wouldn't approve of. Just, you had to do it a little bit.
A little bit. You got to test the waters about what that really means when you get full reign.
So I did settle, and
Does she have veto power? So did you have veto power on the first two names?
She doesn't, but she knows how it works, and I do too. I know that ultimately it was her decision, and I finally got a little bit of an inkling that she would possibly sign off on a name that was sort of towards the top of my list, so I just went with it. So,
okay.
Ready?
Are you ready? Okay, you're revealing it right now, yeah?
Sure, yeah. The little girl's name is going to be Kennedy.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
You know,
elegant.
I have some Kennedy. I coach a Kennedy on my speech debate team. And it's a delightful name. Spitfire name. Yeah. It's a name that is it's got energy. It's that I like it. I like it. I dig it a lot.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Very nice. Good choice, Ty. Well done. I didn't know we were going to have Fatherhood Corner here to open the pod, but this is great. So is this it for you, though? I mean, you're done now, right? That's fair to...
Yeah.
Okay, we're not pushing for 4 here. We're not trying to get an offensive line put together or starting 5.
Nope. We're okay with just center, right wing, left wing. That's all we're going for. No goalies.
Libero, outside hitter, setter. We've got it. We've got everything covered, and there it is. We've got it hammered.
That'll work. Dad's middle.
You know, by the time Bradley is old enough, there will be boys volleyball at the high school level. Like, that's going to happen.
There should be.
Well, it's going to happen.
There should be. I went to college in Wisconsin, which in the Madison area, boys volleyball is really popular. So I tried out for the volleyball team in college, and I was not expecting a bunch of guys who actually played volleyball.
Now, you'll hate
those guys
me.
Are good.
I voted it down a couple of times only for financial reasons, not because I don't believe in it. And because I do, but so that means it will pass eventually. Like, they'll bring it up in 2 years, they'll get past the COVID funding and all of that stuff, and I think it'll get approved. I really believe within 3 to 5 years we'll have boys volleyball.
And I don't even care if it has to be a club thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be a high school sport. And it really should have a little bit more steam from the guys' side probably before it's a high school sport.
It's gaining. Possible. More and more high schools have a club team now. More and more. It's happening a little bit. There's a little steam, little foundation. It's moving forward.
Yeah, it's a good sport.
So there you go, Ty. And maybe that'll be a coaching job for you down the road. All right, let's talk a little golf. First, I gotta talk about my golf game for a minute. Do you got a couple seconds just to kind of work me through the last couple weeks? Well, first of all, I want to say this.
Let's sit down in the therapeutic
court
of love.
Thank you. Yesterday, I had a great round of golf. I went out and I played in the cold, and just by myself, played in 2 hours, shot 75. Had just my best round of the year, best ball striking round of the year. Putted the eyes out of it. Just a good round of golf. Some of that, I had fun on Saturday, but I played terrible. I shouldn't say terrible. I shot 79, but it was a bad start. It was a bad 8 holes, good final 10 holes. I was like 7 over through 8, and I played the rest of the way in like +2. But the weekend prior, I text you this, so you know a little bit. My game went just south. And I'm trying to figure out if it was my game that went south because of me, or if it went south because I didn't have a lot of fun with the playing partners, or if it was a combination of those things. And I don't know. Like, let me ask, because let me just say this about you. Again, we've talked about this a couple times. You do not go to the range much, if at all.
No.
You are a tee it up, show up 20 minutes for the round, give me a couple putts, and we're just off and running. And you have not changed your golf swing. It is the exact same that it was when I first met you. When you were 18, 19 years old, which I cannot believe it's already been that long. It's the exact same golf swing. And yet, you play the same way. I feel like you never miss the ball. The ball does everything that you say it's going to do, ball flight-wise. I go to the range and I beat thousands of balls. I hit thousands of balls a year. Thousands. And I need to do that just to be average. Like, I'm a 6 handicap. I'd be a 12 if I didn't hit balls. But yet, I was having a really difficult time taking my game to the course. I'd hit these balls on the range, and I'd feel really good about what I was doing, go to the course, and just like forget all of it. I couldn't remember anything. And I developed a snap hook again, pull hooks. I wasn't shanking, but hooking everything. And it just was not much fun this first month of the year, but it really crystallized itself 2 weekends ago when I went out twice on Saturday and Sunday and had a terrible time both times. Some of it, I think, because the company I played golf with wasn't in the mood to play golf, I don't think. And I kind of took that and I kind of let it bother my game. But some of that was just me not playing good golf. And I'm trying to figure out like what the mindset needs to be to make this work. And I don't, and also technique wise, I need to figure out how to go out and play more consistently and how to take the range to the golf course. It's frustrating, Ty, but you don't have these problems. Like when I play golf with you, it feels like you always play golf with people who want to play golf, and your game never changes and your attitude never changes. It's the best quality you have. That's why I love playing golf with you.
Well, I appreciate that. The difference is that you said my golf swing, nothing's changed about me since I was 19 years old. I also haven't gotten any better since I was 19 years old. So keep that in mind. And I think you're a little bit too hard on yourself when you talk about the consistency issues and the progression, because you have progressed about as much as anyone. I mean, I don't know. Anyone I know, as you know, you've basically come, again, when we probably met, I have no clue. You were probably an 18 or a 20, and now you're like a 5 or a 4. I mean, that's a big jump.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not that much better than I was when I was a high school golfer. The only thing I am is I'm just more cerebral around the golf course. That's really all it is.
Yeah.
So you're being too hard on yourself, and you're holding yourself not to too high of a standard. You're just holding yourself to a standard that you always want to be a couple strokes better, and you're achieving that. It's just not going to happen on a just imagine 3 years ago if you'd have said, man, I had a terrible weekend of golf. I shot 82. You wouldn't have said that, right? You'd have said, hey, I had a great weekend of golf.
The round I shot on Sunday was not 82. It was 87. And it was at Sandbrook, the easiest golf course in the county. I mean, in the metro area. Like I said, I already told you, if you went to Sandbrook right now, you'd shoot. If you were on at Sandbrook, you'd shoot 68. I shot 87. And it looked like I never played golf before.
It's not great.
It's not great. It's bad.
It's not great.
No, it's not good at all. It's terrible. It's terrible. But
also the snap hook thing, it happens to the best of us. I've had it when I was in high school. Our number one varsity golfer developed the snap hook almost our entire senior year. And luckily he figured it out right around the time that sections rolled around. He was still able to qualify for the state tournament. But the snap hook thing, that's just a golf thing. I mean, you talk to pros, they have it on a different level because they're so in tune with their golf swing when they can break it down in slow motion. It's so easy to figure out what it is. But that's something that just happens, and it's the most frustrating thing in the world. But, man, it's just going to happen every couple of years. You're going to develop a snap hook for a month or two. I don't know what it is. It's never a snap slice. It's always a snap hook. But that's just a golf thing, no question.
Perhaps you're right. And I know they say like the hook is a sign of a better golfer because that means they're getting the club face through the zone. I was working on neutralizing my grip a little bit, and I feel like that's helping some. I felt like I didn't have any issues with that on Sunday. Like yesterday I went out and played. I had a little cut going, and I'm like, I can live with that. Like I really could live with that if I can do that all the time. But just trying to get to that level of consistency where I have fun. And, you know, part of that too is I've got to accept my playing partners some days are going to be, it's the nature of golf. It's the nature of whatever. But there are days that people are human, right? I have to accept that people are going to wake up on the wrong side of the bed some days. I'm going to have to accept that I wake up on the wrong side of the bed some days. And I'm going to play golf. I'm not going to play golf in the best of moods, and maybe the playing partners I have are not going to play golf in the best of moods. But it drugged me down a couple weekends ago. It was hard. And I haven't quite recovered from that yet. Like it really stuck with me because it's the first time I can really say that I didn't have fun playing golf in like 10, 12 years of playing golf. And I have played some shitty golf. And it was like the first time where I went home and I was like, I probably could have done something besides play golf today. First time ever.
Mm-hmm.
It's frustrating, Ty.
That is frustrating. That's a tough realization, but it sounds like you had more fun this past weekend. It sounds like you played well on Sunday.
Yes.
So the best part about shooting an 87 is you can't do any worse the next round. So there's
some truth to that. Yeah, well, at least through 7 holes the other day, I thought maybe I was going to shoot 87 again, but then I kind of got it going. I figured it found something, and it started working, and I started playing pretty decent golf. This is why I just need you. I needed you, Ty. I missed you. I needed this conversation. I needed you and I to talk through this golf thing.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what I'm here for.
Thank you very much. This has been Therapy Hour on the Tim Podcast. It's Tim and Ty here working through all your problems, and we're going to take your phone calls. Nah, I'm just kidding. No. Take your emails, though, if you do want to send it to me, timpodcast1@yahoo.com. Also, drop me a line on Twitter, Instagram, Mr. Tim Anderson. That's all good. If you have any golf-related ideas, tips, thoughts. I know Christina Kim tried to help me through that, the LPGA pro, on Twitter the other night. She was very kind. I'll tell you what, she might be one of the best follows on Twitter, Christina Kim. If you haven't had a chance to check her out, she's great. Fantastic. Great follow. Love to get her on the pod sometime. We'll see what happens. Let's talk a little bit about the Zurich Classic. Ty, I got to give you credit. You have been on the Cam Smith train, I think, before anybody else that I know. And Cam, Smith, Leishman, they pull it out on playoff holes over Oosthuizen and Schwartzel over the weekend. A really fun group to watch. They were easy to root for on Sunday. Cam Smith's just easy to root for in general. And he brought something out of Mark Leishman this weekend that was like really fun and entertaining. It was great.
Yeah, the mullet thing on Saturday was entertaining. But yeah, I love Cameron Smith. And it goes beyond the mullet and the mustache. I think he's a really good golfer, and his game tends to travel, right? It's not like he only plays well overseas or only plays well stateside or only plays well on the West Coast. He plays well when you need to score, and he plays well when you need to make par. He's just a really solid golfer. And that doesn't always, there hasn't been a ton of guys. The guys from Australia that are really solid players, you can count on one hand. The guys that came over, won in the States, made a name for themselves, and Cameron Smith is that next guy. He's not an old guy. He has the potential to finish his career like a Greg Norman. And Greg Norman, seemed to fail when the money was on the line, and I'm not so sure that that's going to be Cameron Smith. So a lot of people like to call him Cam Smith. I call him Cameron, because him and I are tight like that, and we're best buds. So I really like Cameron Smith. I think by the end of his career, he'll have multiple major wins.
I think the thing that holds Aussie players back, and I don't know if this is a thing with Aussie players, because you'd think that they would all be really good putters. Some of the beautiful golf courses and challenging layouts that they have in Australia, when you think about like Kingston Heath and Royal Melbourne and some of the courses down there, I feel like you got to be a short game wizard to play really good golf down there. And yet, Adam Scott's a terrible putter. Jason Day is an average putter. Leishman's an average putter. I wouldn't call him a great putter. But Cameron Smith is next level. I feel like he can. The reason he played well at Royal Melbourne in the President's Cup, played well at Augusta, played well in this team competition last week at Zurich, and it's like, well, what's the common denominator to all of these things? You needed a short game. You needed a short game at Royal Melbourne because of the shaved banks and the tough greens and the tough complexes, and he navigated that brilliantly. His short game and putting, his ability to make a 7-footer with the money on the line is next level. Like, it's really next level stuff. Same thing at Augusta. He goes and finishes in the top, 3, 4 at Augusta, and it's, again, what do you have to do at Augusta? You got to be able to chip around the tight spots, and you got to make some 7-footers for par. You got to be able to do that. Cam does that. This last weekend, alternate shot, the one thing you can't do in alternate shot, you got to scramble. That's the whole idea of alternate shot. It's partly why the Americans absolutely stink at it, like why they're no good at the Ryder Cup in foursomes. This is where the Euros make their money on us. Every single Ryder Cup is in foursomes because a lot of the American guys just don't scramble well. They just don't because they're used to bombing, they're used to gouging. They'll get it on the green, they'll make par. But when it's alternate shot and like your first shot of the hole is a gouge it out tee shot from 230 yards away and you can't get it to the green, it's not exactly what you draw up. You know what I mean? You're not engaged in that process. But I think the Australians proved, like Leishman and Smith proved, that just scramble around. Just get it to the green somehow. Get a 7-footer for par and we'll make it. And they did. Like Leash made a couple big 7, 8-footers. Smith made some big putts. That's why they were able to win this thing and put it away.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed the Zurich Classic. I watched Thursday, Friday, Sunday more than I normally would. Again, going just like the match play, going into the team event, I wasn't looking forward to it a ton, but I came out of it, looking back and saying, wow, that actually was a good time, especially the alternate shot. The 4-ball doesn't do a ton for me. I'm not a huge fan of the birdie fest. It's just hard to, you're watching guys individually and the scoring is goofy. Anytime you have a team stroke, it's a little bit awkward, especially when they're bouncing back and forth and you're looking at the leaderboard early Sunday and it's hard to gauge what, who still has a chance to make up the ground. And with alternate shot, it's really hard to make up any ground, right? I mean, there was a clustered leaderboard, and it pretty much ended Sunday the same as it started, aside from Schwartzel and Oosthuizen having a 1-stroke lead going in. But that alternate shot, man, you're on the edge of your seat every shot, and the playoff hole just goes to show you, you can win with a bogey.
Yeah, you can hit a foul ball off, and that's the thing. You got to play it. So you're they were 3 from the tee in the playoff hole because Oosthuizen hits it in the water. And you got to play it.
He looked sick, by the way.
Oh, my God. Yeah, poor Louis. Oh, he looked so bad with that. It was terrible. And you just, in team play, it hurts so much more because now you're 3 from the tee with your partner having to hit the tee shot. It's not like 4-ball where you're like, well, I'm in my pocket this hole. Go get him, partner. It's not like that. There's some people who are like, I wish they did alternate shot all 4 days. I don't know if I want that. I love it on Sunday. I guess I'd love it on Thursday. I'd love it if it opened that way on Thursday. Maybe best ball on Friday, so it is a crazy dash to make the cut. So, like, you could have a bad day and yet make the cut on Friday if you can go low. Then I saw this idea, and I kind of like this. What do you think of this? So, Thursday, alternate shot. Friday, best ball. Saturday, 2-man scramble. Where it's going to be 58. Somebody's going to shoot 58 in the third. So if you make the cut, seriously though, if you make the cut, you can come all the way back. So you could be 8 back heading into the weekend. Get on a run in scramble ball and make it all the way back to the top. And then you're right back in the game. And then you play alternate shot on Sunday.
The only issue I have with the 2-man scramble is I just think everybody's going to shoot the same number. I mean, everyone's going to shoot 58, 59, 60, 61, 62. There's not going to be a wide spread of the scores.
Yeah, you might be onto something.
Which is similar to a 4-ball, but it would be hard to make up ground because everybody would be birdieing everything. That's my only. It would be something you'd have to try, right?
Yeah.
And these pros might be able to tell you what they'd shoot, but I mean, if you and I go out and shoot a a two-man scramble, there's a wide variance of what can happen, but these guys would be birding every hole because, especially with putting, the putting would be silly.
How about this
right?
then? I got this. I got it. So Thursday, alternate shot. Friday, best ball. Saturday, modified alternate shot where everybody hits a tee shot. You take the best one, and then you play alternate shot from there. Yep. So everybody hits a tee ball, and then you play alternate shot for whatever one you take.
Yeah, I love modified alternate shot. I think that I wouldn't care if they use that 2 days. I love modified alternate shot.
So I'm in on some of that stuff.
Takes a little bit of volatility out, but it also brings a little bit of better play into the mix and better. Certainly, I mean, the scoring would be much, much better if that were the case.
Or what if they said modified alternate shot, take the worst drive?
So players don't like goofy things, I don't think, and they already have a little bit of trouble getting some of the big names to this tournament. It takes my favorite dynamic of this tournament is seeing what the teams are, because I like to see, I guess I didn't know that those two were friends. I like the dynamic. It's interesting to see the two, the terrible players who are grouped together. You just feel bad for them. Everybody's been in line getting where captains are picking the baseball teams at recess, and all of a sudden you get to the end and there's the last pick. So you kind of know how that conversation goes. But yeah, it was interesting, like Cameron Smith and Mark Leishman, that makes a ton of sense. Oosthuizen and Schwartzel, but a couple of them really surprised me. Who was with Cameron Champ? That one surprised me.
Tony Finau and Champ.
Finau. Yeah, that surprised me. Let's talk about Finau.
Yeah. So,
I know you're a big Finau.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Tony Finau once again shows you why he doesn't belong in this upper echelon conversation. Like, he just doesn't belong there right now. These are the kinds of events where, look, okay, you haven't won in a long time. You only got the Puerto Rico Open to your credit. I know this is a team event, but if you win that, I'll probably shut up. And it probably makes a half-decent case for you for the Ryder Cup. To say, look, I just played alternate shot and we did great. I played better ball and I did great. Like, I am a good Ryder Cup player because I just played the two formats over 4 days and my guy won with me. That's a great case to make. It's really a great case to make. But in alternate shot, again, the format where the Americans struggle the absolute most in the Ryder Cup, he just wasn't very good. He just wasn't very good yesterday. In a tournament that could have been had. It really could have been had. Him and Champ could have won that tournament. And they can't get off the tee, and they can't make putts. And this is the thing that continues to hold Tony Finau back. And people are talking about this like, he's a young man with a lot of career left. The guy's in his 30s now. There's 25 guys younger than him that have more wins. Like, Jordan Spieth has 13 more wins and 3 more majors, and he's 3 years younger. So, what are we talking about? So to me, I appreciate his consistency. He's a top 10, top 15 machine. I respect the hell out of that. That's great. But get away from me with all of this elite talk. He is not one, to me, he's not one of the 15 best players in the world. He's just not. I understand what the world golf rankings are going to say. He's just not one of the 15 best players in the world. And I struggle to think that he may not be one of the 20 best players in the world.
Who's your player comparison in the previous era for Tony Finau?
He is, to me, it's interesting because he does hit the ball far. But he's, to me, I would say John Daly, but John Daly has more wins.
Yeah.
He's one of these guys that hits it far. I think of a guy like Alvaro Quiros, who played from Spain in the kind of early mid-2000s. Just a bomber, right? And he came in and brought length, and everybody was like, "Oh man, this guy could revolutionize the game." And then they were like, "Oh shit, he can't putt." and he can't chip, and he can't do anything else. And before you knew it, he was gone. You know what I mean? So to me, he's kind of on that line. I think of him like KJ Choi, but longer. You know, like just a guy who's steady Eddie, but he's not gonna win anything. Like, I mean, even KJ Choi has wins, but like you never put in a big spot. Did you ever think KJ Choi would beat somebody? Did you ever think, oh, he'll stare Phil down and beat him on Sunday, or he'll stare Tiger down and beat him on Sunday? No, you never thought that.
Yeah,
and he never really did, except for that one Players Championship.
Yeah, he's a good player, but I see your gripe because there are a lot of people that would want to talk about Tony Finau, certainly in the top 10, and maybe in the top 8 or 7, and accolade-wise, it's just not there. There's no argument for that.
Here's where I kind of think about this, and I'm like a teacher, right? So here's the teacher side of me that goes with this. I can't grade on potential, right? I can't really do that. Like, if you are giving me, if your percentage in my class is 58.9%, I can maybe kick you to a D because you're a good kid and I like your potential and I don't want to fail you, but I can't give you an A. You know what I mean? You can't jump 40 points. You can't be a C student and get C's on tests and get an A in my class. You are being assessed at a C. Yep. So you're not an A student. But you have Finau, who I think walks around like he's an A student. And people talk about him like he's on the A honor roll. But he's getting C's. You know, or B minuses. Maybe B minuses is more fair. Or just solid B's. Hey man, nothing wrong with B's. Nothing wrong with it at all. That's great. But it's not an A. And to me, Ryder Cups, major championships, that's A stuff. That is the A list of golf, the honor roll, the Dean's list. If you're going to put Dean's list, it's Bryson, it's Brooks, it's DJ, it's Spieth, it's Rory. Right? Like those guys with multiple majors, FedEx Cups, Ryder Cup appearances, Ryder Cup success. Patrick Reed makes the honor roll. Might be caught for plagiarism. But my point is, like, because he cheats a lot, is all I'm saying. But he might be on the honor roll. He's just not there. He's just not there. He's just a good, solid student. He's just not Dean's list. But yet people want to talk about him like he's on the Dean's list, and he's not.
I agree.
So, and another Sunday meltdown. He's just got to figure out how to win one of these golf tournaments. Otherwise, it gets late early, and guys start passing you by. Look at Ricky Fowler. He's right now on Fowler territory. And Fowler's got a better career. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Tim, let's talk Armlock.
I want to talk. Give me one more guy, and let me talk one more guy with you, and then we'll do Armlock. Because I do want to get to this, because Billy Horschel's comments were good, and I want to talk about it. You know, the teams that we talked about, it's kind of fun to see how the teams make sense. And even the teams that don't make sense, but it somehow works, like Scheffler and Watson somehow found a way to make that work, even though it was like 9 guys rejected Bubba and Scheffler couldn't get anybody to play. So like, okay, I guess we'll play together. And it kind of worked. Yeah. It was sort of cool to see. But like Morikawa and Matt Wolff, they missed the cut. Wolff looks like he's having zero fun on the golf course. He doesn't look like a guy who wants to be there right now. Like, I think this is where, as a teacher, you look for body language, right? And I say, who do I need to be worried about? Kids will walk into class with their head down, maybe a little slumped shoulders, sitting in the corner with their hood up, and you say, something's going on. There's something amiss. That kid's got some depression issues or something. We need to talk. I got to do a little mental health check-in. Somebody's got to do a little mental health check with Matthew Wolff. Like, I'm a little concerned about just the way he carries himself on the course right now. He just doesn't look happy. Shoulders are slumped. There's zero confidence in his golf swing. It's just not working out there right now. And part of this might be, I compare him and Victor Hovland a little bit. Hovland still lives in Oklahoma. Last I checked, I think. He graduated from Oklahoma State. But on tour, he has a house right by the campus, and like all the golf guys come and hang out with him, and it's just a great old time over there. He's basically partying like he's still in college. But he's a professional golfer making millions. I don't think Matt Wolff did that. I think he went to Florida and lived with the golfers down there and got a house and all that stuff and is trying to live the pro golfer life. And he's still like 23. And I don't know if that life of isolation and that life of kind of vagabond and I'm just working and that's it and my whole life's golf. I don't know if that's good for him. Like, I don't know if he's ready for that yet. He might need to pull back a little bit and regroup, rebuild his support system, and then maybe go back out. Because he just doesn't look like the same guy who won the 3M 2 years ago.
What was Colin Morikawa thinking choosing him as his teammate?
It's a great question.
I was at a work function about 5 years ago, and someone I respect a lot came up to me and after lunch and said, next time you eat lunch, don't eat lunch with those guys. And I was eating lunch with people who were in my profession who were downers, who were, not positive and weren't doing anything with their careers. And at first I'm like, man, that's kind of rude. And then I started to think about it. No, he's looking out for me. He doesn't want me to get that mentality. What's Morikawa doing hanging out with Wolff right now? Why were they teammates? And maybe Morikawa's just too nice and Wolff still thinks he's in that company, but I'd be interested to see where Morikawa's at the next couple weeks, with the old Matthew Wolff piano on his back. Again, interested to see. On a separate note, it's interesting you brought that up because just a couple days ago I was doing a deep dive on Matthew Wolff, and I'm trying to figure out, is this who he is? Or is he the Matthew Wolff of a year ago where he was competing in the U.S. Open? So I went back and watched the highlights. I went back and watched his USAM highlights, and then specifically I watched his highlights of the team national championship where him and Hovland were both, 1 and 2. And watching Matthew Wolff, like you said, from a body language standpoint, could not have been more into it or more, the vibrato and the aura. It was very positive. He was pumping up the crowd. He was into it. Whereas Hovland is a little bit more standoffish. He's just a little bit more coy and quiet. But Matthew Wolff was what would be a good, like the athlete who's pumping up the crowd. It was fun to see. And then I'm looking and saying, that's not the Matthew Wolff we've been watching the last few weeks. And of course, you're not going to be pumping up the crowd after a double bogey, but still, he's that guy who he's constantly talking. He's constantly, making jokes, and seeing him like this, it's weird. And again, I still don't quite know what the real Matthew Wolff is. We know that the potential is there. I mean, he certainly has the potential to bounce back, but he's not in it right now. And you're right. We need a deal welfare check on Matthew Wolff. I don't know who's going to do it, but somebody.
Well, he won the crowd over here when he won at 3M. Like, this crowd didn't know who he was, really. Like, if you were a golf guy, you knew who Matthew Wolff was. But if you're just the average casual golf fan and you showed up here, like, you fell in love with him because he was infectious and his golf swing's unique, and everybody was like, dude, this guy's awesome. And the fans, especially the young fans, when you were walking the grounds, the young fans gravitated to Wolff, and he wanted it, and you could see that he wanted it. You don't see that right now. Like, you just don't see that. And some of this to me goes back to that. I think about that first tournament back after COVID, where they did that charity thing where it was Ricky, him, Dustin, Rory, and they played at Seminole Golf Club or something like that for charity. And Wolff's talking up a storm. Like, he's just gabbing away the entire round. 4 hours of Matthew Wolff. And it basically was him. And DJ said 6 words in 4 hours. Roars said a few things. But it was basically just Matthew Wolff trying to talk to all 3 guys. And you just got the vibe that he was trying to find his way in and be accepted and kind of be part of this group. And it was like the other guys were kind of there, kind of having fun, but I don't know if it was different. But right now he just looks like a very jaded, bitter guy, and I'm with you. I think we got to do we got to make a call. We got to make a call. Matthew, listen, come on the pod, sit down with Ty and I. Let's get you squared away because he's going to be a guy you want on tour. Like the PGA wants Matthew Wolff to be on tour and be successful. So I would hate to see him be in a position where he's fighting for a card here in a couple of years. So let's hope for that he can turn this thing around. But it was not good. It was not good. No. And Colin Morikawa, I think, just tried to do what the old pro wrestlers used to do. He tried to give him the rub. Like he was hoping maybe if I play with Wolff, he can draft off me for a couple rounds and maybe find his groove. And I think it had the opposite effect. Like nobody got the rub. They got sent out. So tough one. We'll keep an eye on Matt Wolff. We'll close the book on Zurich. Let's talk Armlock. Billy Horschel came out this past week and a half ago and basically said, "Hey, I think we should get rid of the Armlock. I'm willing to trade the belly putter back for getting rid of the Armlock." You have been anti-Armlock. You've been on this train before Billy Ho. Billy Ho comes to Ty's defense. Is there momentum to go to? Do you think there's momentum's gaining? Are you gaining steam to get rid of Armlock?
I mean, I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate here. I have some statistics to show that it really isn't that much of an advantage. My issue with arm locking is I just don't think it's that much different than anchoring to the chest. That's what I don't think. It's very easy to say that, or easy to see that it's a loophole in the rules, right? I mean, it's the same idea. You're anchoring to a point of your body and you're guiding the ball squarely through the strike zone. So that's my issue with it. But to play the other side of it, like two things can be true at once. Like it can give you an advantage, but at the same time, it can be fair. I'm going to drop some statistics on you that has me swinging a little bit in the other direction.
Okay.
And I'm just going to fly through them. But I have a few guys here. I have guys who arm lock. I have Bryson DeChambeau, Matthew Kuchar, Webb Simpson, Keegan Bradley. So Bryson DeChambeau is the fifth-ranked golfer in the world.
Will Zalatoris, too.
Yeah, but these are my case studies.
Okay.
So fifth-ranked golfer in the world, Bryson. This year he's the 37th-ranked putter in strokes gained putting, 10th, 28th, 32nd going back to 2018. So again, when you look at that and say, okay, he's the fifth best golfer in the world. He's not a great putter, but 37, 10, 28, 32. It's not putting that's bringing his game up. I mean, again, arm locking, there's nothing unfair about it. Matt Kuchar, 79th, 6th, 41st, 31st in strokes gained putting. Webb Simpson, who has done really well with the arm lock. I mean, he's a short game guy. He kind of has to be a good putter. I believe Webb Simpson would be a good putter either way. 17th, 13th, 11th, 5th. Keegan Bradley, you're going to love this. 182nd, 185th, 178th, 174th. So pretty consistently in that area in strokes gained putting. Never a positive strokes gained putting number.
Unless he was a belly putter. Your argument would be because he was actually a half-decent belly putter, an anchored belly putter. And so was Webb Simpson.
Yeah.
And when they got rid of the belly puttering and the anchoring, Webb was in the doldrums for 2 years until he discovered the arm lock. So clearly the arm lock made Webb better. He couldn't putt conventionally. Like, if we look back at his numbers, he was irrelevant for like 2 years after the anchor ban because he couldn't make a putt. And Keegan has yet to recover. Keegan went from being a top 15 golfer, top 15, top 20 golfer with a major championship and a Ryder Cup guy to a guy that can't sniff those teams because he can't putt at all, even with the arm lock. So this works against it's the same as anchoring because it's turned, even because Keegan hasn't figured it out. Webb Simpson's figured it out, but to the same degree, I don't know. I'm just pushing back a little bit.
I just think that, I mean, if it's as unfair as Brad Faxon and Billy Horschel think, then the guys I just talked about should be 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's fair.
It's an advantage, but I don't know. I just think it's not all it's cracked up to be. It's good for guys who have a difficult time getting the putter squarely through impact, but it's not the end of the world. And if you want to get rid of it, get rid of it. But I don't know. I think it's a lot about nothing.
See, I'm all for, if you're asking me, if you're telling me, what do I want to get rid of? Green reading books, green books, or Armlock putting? It's green books 100 times out of 100. There's no green reading books at Augusta, and we see who the best putters are. Like, you can't fake it around Augusta. I would argue Matsuyama wins the Masters because he doesn't have green reading books. Like, I think he had to just go there and trust his stuff, and he had to trust his eyes, and it's natural, and it was like, he putted better. I don't think the green reading, and that's why Spieth is good at Augusta, because you take the books out of it, and it's just about talent. The best putters are going to win.
So what was the rule change they made recently with the green reading books? They took something out of it.
They took some of
the
they took some of the note taking out of it. Like, you couldn't make more notes for yourself, I think, and they made less. There were less numbers available, but it was not a complete taking away of the green reading books. They basically just made them smaller or made it a little bit. There was less information, but there's still a lot of information. It didn't make the meaningful change that they thought.
Let's spend just a couple minutes on it, but I don't think you and I have talked about it. What do you think about, I mean, they're going to be able to use lasers coming up, right?
At the PGA, yeah. I am okay with it, although I've been told by some folks that some PGA guys are like, I think it's going to slow us down because, Caddy's going to get a number, I'm going to get a number, and now we're going to be like, well, what number is it? And we're going to spend hours figuring out what damn number it is. And I'm not, I guess, here's what I want. In the end, I guess if it speeds up, if I felt it sped up play, like for us, it speeds up play. For the college kids, it speeds up play because the college kids don't have caddies. So I'm totally okay with the college kids having the laser and lasering the flag and playing the shot and keeping the pace going. Although college kids are slower than dirt. Some of them are. We need to get, if it picks up the pace, great. But I think the LPGA in Hawaii proved that it's the books. I think they proved that if you get rid of the green reading books, it doesn't really matter what else is there. You'll play 25 minutes faster without the green reading books.
Yeah.
That was the most impressive statistic of the last 3 weeks for me. No green reading books at Augusta, and there was no green reading books at the Lotte Championship in Hawaii because they didn't have time to create books because they didn't know they were going to have a tournament until a month prior. So there were no books. And they played 25 minutes faster a round because they did. And they were like, well, why are we playing 25 minutes faster? Well, we're not spending 3 hours looking at a book.
Yeah.
There's something to it. I would trade. You can have the Armlock. You can have it all. Give me the green reading books. Like, get rid of those, and we'll keep everything else the same. That's my deal.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to keep an eye on that. But I think that's to be continued on this Armlock thing. I think with Faxon, with Billy Horschel, here's what you need next. Because I think the anchoring thing, when it got to Tiger, and guys like Tiger stood up and said, I think you got to get rid of it. You got to get rid of anchor putting. It went away pretty fast when guys like Tiger said get rid of it. You wonder if it's going to take a guy like that to step forward and talk about Armlock or something like that to get rid of that. Like the ball rollback, that's going to happen. Within a couple of years, mark my words, that's happening. Too many big names have talked about that. It's going to happen. Just let's face the facts. They're rolling that ball back in a couple of years. So figure it out from that point perspective, but I think if Tiger stepped forward tomorrow and said, yeah, get rid of Armlock putting, I think you'd see Armlock putting go away too. I
think so too, but we don't really know if that's those people you're talking about, we don't really know if they share that opinion. I mean, they might look at the same statistics as me and say, does it help the right person? Yes, but it's not a secret recipe. It's just not.
And see, that's the difference between the Armlock and the belly. Because you think about the belly, Keegan won, Webb Simpson won, and a few other guys were winning with belly putters. And you said to yourself, wait a minute, these guys are only really putting well because of the belly putters. Like, because they're anchoring the putter. Like, anchored putters were winning golf tournaments, and that's why they got rid of it. If I would listen to the Armlock thing if Kuchar and Zalatoris and all these guys were winning majors, all the majors with Armlock putters. It's not happening. So I'm with you. I'm not ready to do that until that happens.
Steve Stricker and Jim Furyk, they were anchoring guys, weren't they? At least at some point.
Stricker never was. Stricker's a old school toe up or heel up. He's a heel up putter, I think. He's kind of weird to watch, but he's a conventional guy. Furyk toys with stuff all the time. So I think Furyk's been belly. Furyk's putting has changed 1,000 different times. So I don't know what he's been. But Ernie Els, I think a lot of those guys have experimented with that. Obviously, Bernhard Langer won 1,000,000 times on the Champions Tour anchoring. So some would argue he still does, although he swears he's not. I got it 1 inch off my chest. I'm not anchoring at all. It's totally fine right where I got it. It's totally off my shirt. Not on my chest in any way, shape. Yeah, okay, whatever. So speaking of LPGA, I got to talk to you about this before we get to our picks. Long podcast tonight, but that's okay. Everything's good. The last 2 weeks I watched Wednesday to Saturday LPGA events that started a day early, ended on Saturday night primetime. Lydia Ko wins in fantastic fashion 2 weeks ago. It was awesome. And Brooke Henderson wins last Saturday at Wilshire. I was thoroughly enthralled the entire time. I was totally engaged. Great leaderboards, incredible tournament venues. Had a fun time watching those events. I loved the Wednesday to Thursday thing. Just loved it. Loved the primetime golf. And I say to myself, why can't they do this more often? I would totally be in on this. Like, they should play every West Coast event Wednesday to Thursday, or come up with a completely different system that allows me to watch women's golf at different times so it's in its own window. And so I ask you, Ty, you're the LPGA casual. You're a casual fan, right? You just love golf like I do, but I would call you a casual LPGA fan. Is that fair?
Yes.
To bring you in, they go to you because they have a commissioner opening. I don't know if you know that. They need a new commissioner over there at the LPGA Tour with Mike Wan going to the USGA.
Yep.
You're commissioner for a day at the LPGA. 3 rules. What are 3 things you want to add? What are 3 things you want to do to bring more eyeballs to the product?
So the Wednesday to Saturday thing works. It does work, but the number one thing that the LPGA needs to focus on, it's not necessarily a downfall of the LPGA specifically, but as we've talked about it, golf in general, but the LPGA has the blueprint for this thing, right? And golf is one of those sports where watching it can be the same as from female to male. There's certain sports where it's played a little bit differently, but golf has the blueprint for this. It's tennis, right? Does anybody really care Sunday at the French Open whether it's Roger Federer or whether it's
Nadal, Djokovic?
No, what are the twin gals?
Oh, it's the Williams sisters.
The Williams sisters. No.
Yeah. No.
But it's all about the names. It's not necessarily about the time slot. They have to promote these names. Everybody I know that's swung a golf club knows who Annika Sorenstam is. No question.
That's true.
They know who she is. Not a single person. You and I, out of my friend group, we're the only people who know who Lydia Ko is.
That's interesting.
Nobody else knows.
Yeah, unless you love golf, maybe you don't know who Lydia Ko is.
No, and Lydia Ko's she's not American, but we have great American female golfers, but nobody knows who they are. Right? Am I wrong? Lexi Thompson.
Yeah,
Why don't we know who Lexi Thompson is?
People know who Lexi Thompson. Maybe the Korda sisters are starting to get some steam. Like, people kind of know who Nelly Korda is, but not a ton. And Jessica certainly doesn't get enough credit. But you're right. And you don't have to be American to be recognized here. Like, Brooke Henderson's a terrific player. I don't know if people could pick Brooke Henderson out of a lineup, and she's won 10 times on tour.
Yeah.
So
she's Canadian, right?
Yeah, Canadian.
Yeah.
Brooke's Canadian, but she's won 10 times. If there was a 10-time winner on the PGA Tour, I damn sure would know who he is. If there's a guy on the tour right now who's won 10 times, you know who it is. You know who they are.
Well, it's essentially Jordan Spieth, right? I mean, Jordan Spieth won,
it's Rory,
13, 14 times, but still,
Yeah, Spieth, Rory, DJ, Justin Thomas. You can name them right now.
We have the perfect opportunity coming up this year. Has 5 circles.
Yeah.
The Olympics.
Yeah.
So let's talk me on down, right? We can't go quite to your stratosphere when it comes to female golf fandom, but let's talk me.
Yep.
So I'm the person that they need to draw on. When I see it's on TV and there's nothing else I'm drawn to, I will turn it on every time. But they need me to make it appointment television. They need me to know what tournament is going on that week. They need me to recognize what the majors are. That's another issue I have. I'm getting rid of the Evian TheraFlow Open that is actually the biggest tournament of the year. I'm done with that. It's ladies U.S. Open of golf. I mean, right? I'm done with the sponsor names. I know that's where the money comes from in the short term, but in the long term, we got to know when it's a big tournament and when the money's on the line.
Yeah, the 5th major, the Evian Masters in France, not my idea of a major championship in France. I like the women's Open.
Why am I not
the U.S. Open, the KPMG PGA Championship, Ladies Championship, and I like the ANA Inspiration because of the tradition. Those are good.
So again, ANA Inspiration, that's a great example. Why is it called the ANA Inspiration?
Yeah, it used to be called, and then before that it was the Kraft Nabisco, and before that it was the Dinah Shore. Yeah. It was the Nabisco Dinah Shore.
People see that and they think it's the lowest tournament of the year because it's not recognizable, right? Again, it's more about the players, but that's my number 2. So why am I not familiar with who's going to be the Olympic golfers coming up? I should be, right? Look at the gymnasts, look at the other female athletes, the skiers that have come from Olympic events, Olympic years. Why do I not know who those golfers are going to be? Why is that not being advertised? I have an issue with that. That is such a big platform. Nobody cares. When people turn on the Olympics, they don't care if it's basketball or it's curling. So why not women's golf?
Yeah.
They don't care if it's trap shooting.
No, you're right. They will
why
watch
not women's golf.
They will watch Kerry Walsh.
Women's golf.
Kerry Walsh is going to play in her 6th Olympics for beach volleyball this year. And Kerry Walsh is late 30s, 40s. She's been around a long, long time.
Yeah.
And everybody knows who Kerry Walsh is. That's the thing. They know who Misty May and Kerry Walsh are. They know who Simone Biles is. But yet I couldn't hold up a picture of Nelly Korda and get enough people to say, oh yeah, that's Nelly Korda. Did
you see No Laying Up put out a day in the life of Madeline Sagstrom?
Yeah, I thought it was terrific. Yeah, I watched it. It was great. It was great.
I had never heard of Madeline Sagstrom until I saw that.
Yeah.
What name did I look for this weekend?
Madeline
on the leaderboard.
Madeline Sagstrom. Sure.
Exactly. And I have to know No Laying Up. I have to be on YouTube. Why is that not, when you're talking about promoting players, why is that not, a quick snippet out of the middle of the tournament where they're promoting these players that are personable, following them around for the week, knowing what it's like, knowing what their life is like, knowing the travel struggles, getting from Sweden or wherever she was coming from to the U.S. for the tournament, only showing up on Tuesday night, not really having much of a practice round. That's the type of stuff people want to see. And the male tour struggles with it just as much, but they're not struggling as much with viewership. That's a separate story. But again, it goes back to why do I not know? Why do people not know who Lydia Ko is?
Yeah.
She is such a good golfer.
Yep.
She has all the charisma. She has all the marketability, and nobody knows who she is. And she's has the potential to maybe be the best female player of all time. Everybody knows who Annika Sorenstam is. Nobody knows who Lydia Ko is. That's my issue. And first day, Danielle Kang, Lydia Ko, Lexi Thompson, Brooke Henderson, Austin Ernst, Jennifer Kupcho, they're all going to be all over the Golf Channel, and I'm going to know who they are. I'm going to know what countries they're representing for the Olympics, and that's the key for nobody's going. Does anybody watch the senior tour? A little bit, because you'll turn it on and you'll know names.
Sure.
But nobody's turning on the Korn Ferry Tour. Nobody's turning on the European Tour because you don't know anyone's name.
And they should, because they're great events.
The LPGA thinks it's going to be any different.
I love the drama on the Korn Ferry Tour, too. I love watching it when it gets down to, like, guys trying to get their card. Like, that's real drama. Like, you could really sell that.
It is.
And I'm with you there. They need to figure out. They got to get in on that. They got to make themselves more visible on that. I can 100% agree. 100% agree on that. You could be a good commissioner. Here's what I think they could do.
I put my name in.
Here's what I think they could do.
I just haven't heard back.
Yeah, give them a call. Check back. I think what they need to do is they need to jump on all these venues that the guys officially are too long to play. Like, I love that they played at Wilshire Country Club. This was such a quirky, fun golf course. I loved it. I thought it was great. I'm like, man, the guys don't play on courses like this. They just don't. And I just enjoyed looking at the golf course. I'd love to see them play courses like Pasatiempo. I'd love to see them play courses like Marion, and where that now seem a little too short, a little too small. I think they played Interlaken for the U.S. Women's Open a few years back up here. And I think Interlaken's a great venue for the ladies. They should take that place over, and like that should become one of their big venues. I'd love to see them jump on some of these 6,400, 6,500-yard courses that are great golf courses, but obviously are never going to hold big-time events. Like, they need to go jump up and play a course like Bandon Dunes, or they need to play, something like that. Yeah. I just think they need to jump in. There's a market of golf courses that they could get into, and I'd love to see them take advantage of that and play more of these classic courses that the men just aren't going to go to anymore. It'd be fun to see them do that.
You know what I think they should be? They should be, as much as you don't want to follow in the footsteps of anyone, but you're following the money trail. I think the women should be 1 year behind the men as far as the courses they go to. If the men play Marion, the women should play. I mean, because when am I most aware of a course? Right after I watch the guys play it. And I'll tune into that. I mean, Bandon Dunes has such a reputation right now that if I saw that the gals were at Bandon Dunes, I would turn it on, if nothing else, just to see how they fare at Bandon Dunes.
Yep, me too.
Right? It's these recognizable courses, and you can make a recognizable course if the guys go play the PGA Championship at what's the course out west they just played with the trees? TPC
out west? Harding Park.
What they just play?
Yeah, Harding Park.
If I turn on the TV today and the girls were at Harding Park, I would turn it on. It's a recognizable course. I know the course. I know how the men fared on it. And that's going to draw, eyes as well. Again, they don't have to go after you. You're already a fan. They need to draw me and everybody whose fandom is just below mine. That's where the eyes are, and they're not doing a great job of it right now. Again, it's a problem that I don't know the players.
And I
should know them.
It's a problem, too, I know that's the challenge we have in our country because we are a little bit myopic and we only want to look at American golfers. And South Korea has 3 or 4 of the best golfers in the world in the top 5. Inbee Park is an incredible player. Great golfer, really fun to watch. And Jin Young Ko is the number 1 player in the world. So some of that is that. Like, Americans aren't the top players? Okay, I'm out. Like, but that and that happens in men's tennis in this country. Like Federer and Nadal. When Federer and Nadal are done playing tennis, what happens to men's tennis? Like they've had Federer and Nadal for 20 years, and before that they had Sampras and Agassi. What happens when those guys are gone? Because there's no American tennis players that anybody watches right now. None. And therefore, why do the women get better ratings? Well, the women have American tennis players. Serena, They have a couple of young American girls that are playing really well like now, like Coco Gauff and stuff like that. It's like women get better ratings for tennis than guys do. Guys' tennis will go away. It's like you need that American star, or at least a very visible star that stands out. And I guess they got to get behind somebody. I don't know. I'm interested to see how it turns out. I'm rooting for the LPGA. I'm going to be watching the event. They're in Singapore this week, Wednesday to Saturday. Once again, I will be watching. So there you go. Good luck. Last thoughts on this one, Ty. Otherwise, then we got to go to our picks.
On the LPGA?
Yeah, do you have any last thoughts, or should we go to our picks?
Yeah.
Picks?
Yeah, let's go to the picks, but the LPGA has a lot of work to do, and they have all the tools. They have the players. The players are already there. They don't have to manufacture that.
Right now, it's never been deeper on the LPGA Tour than it is right now. They've had they've had 6-7 events. They've had 6-7 different winners. They've had both Korda sisters win. They've had Ko win, Brooke Henderson, Inbee Park, and Patty Tavatanakit. That's an incredible group of players that have won already this year. It's awesome. It's a great time to watch the tour. All right, they're off the Copperhead course, Innisbrook for the Valspar. Half decent field this week for the Valspar.
Yeah.
Kind of excited to watch this event. I like this course. This might be one of my favorite of the Florida courses because it's a little tighter. There's some teeth to it. Winning usually, you shoot about 9-10 under par to win usually. They're playing this about a month later than they normally do, so I wonder if that changes it a little bit, but I'm excited for this tournament.
Yeah, and it didn't happen last year. So there's that too, a little bit of, there's a few of those this year. I really like the course. I especially like the finish. 17 is a tough par 3.
Yeah.
And 18 is tight. Bunkers all up. I love when they stack bunkers, one after the other. It makes that drive on 18, it makes your knees buckle a little bit. And a tough green and an elevated approach shot. I really like me, I'm all about the finish, but I really like this course. And yeah, it's not a half bad field. I mean, anytime you have JT at the top, there's something to watch. So I'm excited to tell you my
me too.
Picks.
And DJ's in the field too. So you have JT and DJ. This doesn't smell like a DJ course, I have to tell you. I'm glad DJ's in the field because it adds something, but it doesn't smell like a DJ place. I loved it when Tiger played here a couple years back, and he was in contention. This was like the
top 3.
Yeah, this was the first tournament back where you were like, Tiger's back, guys. This was like his first time where he really contended. And you were like, he's back. He's gonna win sometime. Like it's gonna happen. It was also. Oh, by the way, side note. Good to see a picture of Tiger this weekend. Tiger surfaces, which tells me that the live interview is not far away. Like he's now posting pictures of himself, smiling. He's a couple times spotted. He's out watching Charlie play golf. Matter of time before we see the big one-on-one interview here pretty soon.
Yep. It's coming.
So we'll keep an eye on that bad boy. All right, let's talk picks this week then. So our picks, once again, TyShrupp.com brings you the picks every week. I am on a bad losing streak, Ty. It's killing me. I have scuffled like crazy. I'm getting like the top 2-3 guys are really good, but my bottom 3 never work out. So I am scrambling. We're trying something totally different this week, and we'll see if it leads to success.
We didn't do a pod last week, but I did pick the winners. They were in my picks. I did not win. I was not in the money, but I did pick.
I was certainly not in the money. I was certainly not in the money, but I did not have them in my picks either. I did have Palmer and Rahm, and I did have Hovland, and it looked good. Hovland looked good for a while. Hovland Ventura, but that went away. All right, let's go to it. Your number one pick this week.
Yep.
Who's your number one pick?
Well, it should be obvious. I picked Keegan Bradley. Give me all of that 182nd ranked putting. Until they get rid of the Armlock, I'm just going to take the free wins. It's guaranteed win.
Lie.
So,
all right. You did not take Keegan Bradley. That's a lie.
No, I did.
Oh, you did. You took Keegan Bradley.
He's been playing. decent lately. Yep. Not for his putting. Not
Okay.
for his putting.
Keegan has hit the ball well. And that's the thing. Keegan's always been a ball striker. Like, he's always been able to move the ball. But, yeah, we'll see. If he can keep the ball in the fair. Keegan has played well lately. You're right. He has played better. All right. My first pick,
All right.
I'm going to go P. Reed. Patrick Reed. He's played well here. I think he's won here. But even if he hasn't won here, I know he's played well here. He was, I think, second to Casey and Tiger a couple years ago, or third to Casey and Tiger a few years back. He was second to Jordan Spieth in 2015. He's played well here. It's a course that sets up nice for him. He plays that draw off the tee, and I think that sets up well for him. So I like Patrick Reed this week.
I looked long and hard at him. I don't think he's won because I took a gander at the previous winners. That's typically how I feel out of course before I make my picks. Just former winners. Paul Casey's won twice. Charles Schwartzel's won. Kevin Streelman, Jim Furyk. So, yeah, you do not have to be a long hitter.
Yeah, he's been a real
despite being almost 7,400 yards. I mean, it's not a short course.
Yeah, but I think it's long in places, but I don't think it's long like in totality. I think there's a lot of gettable holes. And Reed is long enough. Like, he's long enough. And he's ran pretty well here as of late. I think he's played some pretty good golf. I'm going to go with him he had a top 10 at the Masters. And again, he's played well here in the past. So I'm gonna take horse for course type thing. I'm gonna take Patrick Reed. Just have a camera on him at all times. Second pick.
Always. I went with Richie Werenski. He played well at Zurich.
He did. Yeah, he did. Great partner with Peter Uihlein.
He's a good player.
He is a good player.
I like to take momentum. Yeah, he's a good player.
Yeah, he's played.
I like to take the momentum. That's typically what I do.
He pops up at interesting times, right? Like, the problem with him is that he has a hard time stringing together events, but he always plays like one or two where like he's in the final group on Sunday, or he's right there on the weekend and he just can't finish it off. But like, him and Uihlein played really well on Sunday at the Zurich and put themselves in a place to be really well at the end. I like Richie Werenski. I think that
I'd be interested to know what the FanDuel stats were. I'm sure that's not a team that got picked a whole lot.
I can't imagine. They were owned by a lot of teams. Can't imagine. Second pick, a guy who's played really well this year, Corey Connors. I think he continues to be an elite, a great ball striker. He's made 14 of 17 cuts. He's played well. Had a great RBC heritage, played well at the Masters, played well at the Valero Texas Open, played well at the Players. That's pretty solid stuff over the last month. I just enjoy his game. I think he's a birdie machine at times, especially early. Round one, he's 21 under par in round one this year. He's 31 under par in round two this year. That's good for top 30. And he's one of the better round four players you're going to find. Like, he's very, very good. So keep an eye on him. I think he's going to be good. He's made, I think, the fourth most birdies this season. He leads the tour, I think, in eagles, if I remember right. So, like, he's having a really good statistical season.
Yeah, he's a really good all-around player. I really like Corey Connors. Did you listen to the No Laying Up podcast where they had the Sabermetrics guy on?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I don't know if I want all those numbers, but I understand I see the value in it.
Yeah, I do too. And it was interesting to hear how the strokes gained formula was come up with. And I think, if I remember right, they asked him who could you have made a case for winning based off of the stats. And I think aside from Hideki, I think his only answer was Corey Connors. That was the only person who had put together a week stats-wise that was requisite of winning. So, yeah, Corey Connors is an awesome player.
He's easy to root for. Like, he's just a really easy dude to like, he's just solid. Like, he's got his wife with him at the tournament events. Wife's a sweet lady. They just seem,
got the shades on.
Yeah, down to earth. I mean, just seems like the salt of the earth kind of guy. Kind of like Corey Connors. Very easy to root for. All right, your third pick.
Doesn't this seem like a Victor Hovland kind of week? Does it not?
It's interesting because I don't know if he's hot or cold. Like, I just don't know if he's playing great or not.
But I was worried about him a little bit. But he's made a little bit of a bounce back. He had his a stretch at the Masters where he was playing well. But this just seems like a week that Viktor Hovland's going to win. There's players there. It's not the Barracuda Championship, but it's also not the Masters, right? Viktor Hovland, if he won, I wouldn't be surprised.
No, I wouldn't be surprised because he's that good. But I just don't know if he's on form or not. It's hard to say. All right, I'm taking a gamble here a little bit. But he played really well in Spain last weekend. He's won 2 or 3 times in the last year on the European Tour. He played his college golf in Florida. So he's a guy that knows the weather, knows the terrain, knows the kinds of grass, and he's making his first start of the year on the PGA Tour. Sam Horsfield. Sam Horsfield's a young player who's out in Europe. He's a British guy, but he played his college golf at Florida, and he just went to the European Tour instead of trying to go to the Corn Ferry or whatever. He's played really well in Europe. I mean, he's put it together in Europe over the last year, has really gotten it together. Getting a start here in Florida, I think he's playing well. Like, if you're really looking at form, very few guys are in the form that Sam Horsfield's in. Would not be surprised if he makes the cut. And I think he could be a name that creeps up on this leaderboard. I think playing a lot of golf in Florida like Sam Horsfield did, I think can only make you familiar. And British guys play well here. Paul Casey always plays well here. I think Rose is in the field. Rose plays well here usually. Something about this golf course, I think, that suits the eye of players like Sam Horsfield. Give me him. I think Sam Horsfield plays well this week. I don't know if he's going to win it. I think he makes the cut, maybe runs in the top 20.
There's a name to watch.
4th guy.
Sung J M.
You took I normally ride Old Iron Byron, but you're taking him this week. I like the pick, always do. Sung J's awesome.
Dude makes cuts.
Guy makes
17 of 19 cuts this year. Plays a lot, obviously.
Yeah, he's already. This is his 20th event already. Nobody's close. No. Corey Connors, this is his 18th. That's the closest guy. Nobody else is close.
No. Yeah.
I'm going to go.
Give me Sung J M.
I love Sung J. I'm always going to root for Sung J. I'm going to take the opposite. You took Werenski. I'm going to take Peter Uihlein. In the last 2 weeks, Peter Uihlein won in Paiute for the Corn Ferry Tour out in Vegas 2 weeks ago and ran well with Werenski in the duo event at Zurich. So he has played pretty good golf over the last 2 weeks. I think he continues playing well. I mean, who's got more confidence right now than Peter Uihlein?
Nobody. That's why I took him. Peter Uihlein.
You have Peter Uihlein as well as your 5th guy?
I sure do.
Love it. Oh.
I wasn't sure who brought the team to solo a 3rd, so I couldn't just take Werenski, so I had to take both of them. Somebody in there.
You're going to have some money left over. I feel like you got some big hitters here at the end because you're taking some real steals in your pools this week. All right, so your 5th guy is Uihlein?
I have some money.
My 5th guy is Mackenzie Hughes. Mackenzie Hughes has made 11 of 15 cuts. He's quietly had an okay season. Hasn't played great as of late. It hasn't been phenomenal as of late. But and he is a feast or famine dude. Like, he will make a ton of birdies, makes a ton of bogeys. I'm a little worried about that. But Mackenzie, when he's on, can take it deep. And I feel like he's ready to make a move. I feel like he's a name that feels like a Mackenzie Hughes week. I think we'll see him make a run.
Is he also Canadian?
Yes. Okay. Very Canadian. So I'm going Connors and Hughes for the Canadian triumvirate. And I got a British guy in Uihlein. 2 Brits. Actually, I got 2 Brits this week. 2 Brits.
All about the patriarchy.
I have two Americans, 2 Canadians, 2 Brits this week on my team. Your last guy.
All right, I had a little bit of money left over, and I took the guy he made my team right on the number. I had $10,800 left, and there was one player for that cost. His name is Scotty Scheffler. So I don't know how I feel about Scotty Scheffler. I picked him maybe when we were in Hawaii or something like that, but like I said, that's how much money I had left. He's a good player, certainly has a potential. Has a little bit of a Tony Finau vibe when it comes to, I just don't know if he quite has the swagger and the the whatever to get him across the finish line. Just hasn't had a lot of first place finishes, but well, we'll see.
Not
Could
ready
be
to
this
go
week.
there yet with Scheffler because he's young still, right? Like he's just been on the tour like a year and change. And he came within an eyelash of winning the match play. I think it's there for Scheffler, and I think he's going to win eventually. I do think he's going to win. Maybe this is the week. I'm not sure when, but you kind of feel like you want to be there. You want him on your team when he's going to win. So you do feel like there's a part of you that wants to take him every week that he's there. I didn't take him this week. I am going to say that this guy found some momentum a couple weeks ago, found his game. He's part of the Morgan Stanley team. I'm taking the very boring Justin Rose.
Anybody but Rose.
I can't take Paul Casey to win 3 times in a row. Like I can't do that. So, and it's not a DJ course.
Nope.
And JT still feels really hot and cold. Like, so I don't know how to take JT yet. Like, I don't know what to make of him because it feels like it's there and then it just goes away. Right? He gets hot at the players, gets pretty cold at the match play, gets it going for a little bit at Augusta, then fades like very quickly. It's just hot and cold with JT. I just don't know what to make yet. Doesn't feel like a DJ course. It does feel like it's a Rose course because Rose can just plot it along and just hit, irons off tees and things like that. I feel like this is a Justin Rose kind of golf course.
Yeah, I'm not a Justin Rose fan, but
well, I can't say that I am either. But I'm trying to
piece together a championship team.
Yeah, just trying to win here, trying to get some money back. Ty, it's been a struggle here.
Yeah.
All right,
well, this could be the week.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun week. Can't wait to watch it. That is the Valspar Championship picks. Hey, guys, got to preview something. On-air production meeting with Ty included on this Thursday night. Mark it down. Live stream on Twitch TV, twitch.tv/Tim Anderson Podcast. 7 p.m. Myself, Ryan, Zach. I'm going to ask Ty to come on and make an appearance halfway through the draft, talk about the draft a little bit. That's going to happen, Ty, by the way. We're going to make you come on for 20 minutes and chat with us about the draft and about the golf podcast, all that stuff. We have last year we sat down and we did this. That was really the impetus of starting this podcast as we were in quarantine lockdown and we decided to live stream our reactions to the draft. So that's what started kind of all of this. So we're doing it again. So it's the second annual live stream of the draft. It's me, it's Ryan, it's Zach, and it's a host of everybody else. So Ty might drop in for an appearance. Lauren might come in to talk peak cinema for 5 minutes. But we're just going to sit there and watch the picks as they happen. We're going to break them down. We're going to talk about it live on twitch.tv. Then we're going to go ahead and upload it as a podcast after the draft is concluded. Should be fun. It's this Thursday starting at, I think, 7 o'clock. Or 6:30 maybe, 7 o'clock. I think 6:30 for Ryan and I will be there.
Anyway.
And Ty, yeah, we're going to give you the invite. You're going to come on for a little while if you want, if you're bored. Especially if we get close to that Vikings pick. If we get you close to the Vikings pick, we'll have you come on. It'll be great.
Sounds good.
All right. That'll be it for the pod this week. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, listening. Once again, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. You can join me, once again, at Mr. Tim Anderson on Instagram and Twitter, Facebook.com/Tim Podcast, TimPodcast1 at Yahoo.com. Share it out, like it, subscribe to it, send it to a friend. Do all of that stuff for us, and we'll boost up those numbers a little bit for us. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And then we will be back again in just a couple of days to talk more football. It's going to be fantastic. Cannot wait. And then Ty and I will be here next Monday to talk about the winner of the Valspar. And we're only a couple weeks away from the PGA Championship at Kiowa Island. That is going to be fun. Ty and I will be blowing out the budget for that as well. So until then, this is Tim for Ty saying keep your head up, and we'll see you next time.